This is The Convergence.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Convergence, the podcast where we talk about Web 3.0, sustainability, and all things in between. We have a familiar guest today and somebody who's my background guest in every episode. So we have Nick from OwnerFi is back with us, and Justin Pierce. We were able to land a time with Justin. He's been crazy busy with everything going on. Justin, also known as Jay Pierce. Guys, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Hey, Derek. Yeah, thanks.
So I want to spend a couple minutes talking about, I guess, let me first give a little bit of an introduction to Justin. As you can see, I actually made him my little avatar here today. We have Afro Justin, right here on the mic. But Justin and I met back when I was working with Fat Scooters, and we were looking to do an artist series on our scooters. And my sales guys were pitching me on this idea, and I had been at a charity auction about a week before, and I had bought a Jay Pierce and had it hanging in my house. And when my team came to me and said, we want to do an artist series, and I was like, guys, we don't have the capacity to do it right now. I'm like, go land me somebody big, like Justin Pierce, and we can talk. And they were like, oh, he's going to be here in like an hour. So I didn't even know you were local or anything. So it really worked out. We ended up doing a collaboration on that. Then we ended up playing basketball with Dominique Wilkins and doing an episode of my TV show at the time called Riding Fat, which is on the Crackle Network, and got to spend some time in Atlanta. So welcome, Justin. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of background. Like, how did you get into art? How long you been doing this? Where does all this come from?
I've been doing art since I was like 15, 16. I've been through, on my own and, just probably self-taught. I originally started painting on clothes and shoes, and then it led to me painting on canvases and doing art and like paintings, physical paintings. And then basically just came up on my own. I've been doing it. I'm 33 now, so I've been doing it for over 15 years. And just basically just between designing art, painting, I would do live painting at trade shows, art walks when I was first starting out.
Weren't we at a coffee shop the other day, and you actually said, I used to paint in front of this coffee shop?
Yeah, when I first I was like selling my paintings for $40, and now I sell them for hundreds and thousands.
Yeah.
But where we met was where I originally started selling my artwork at art walks in Chandler. And so being in that area is like a good reminder of like how far I've come and everything. But
absolutely,
yeah, it's been cool. But like I've been on my own for a while, or since I was young, and then self-taught. My work is really colorful, bold, and fun. I work with a lot.
Like Vanna White right now, showing it off behind me. I've got Kool-Aid Man, and do we have a name? Is there a name for this one?
That one's called the JP 747.
Okay, now I know.
Yeah.
So, what was sort of your first big break here? Because I mean, people that don't know who you are as an artist, you've got a lot of, just in the last 3 years since we met. We met right about the time of the beginning of the pandemic. I think it was about 2 years ago right now when we were pitching the show and asking to be a guest. But I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, I've seen LeBron have your stuff on, right? I think I saw him on a face mask.
Yes.
I mean, LL Cool J. There's a whole bunch of people that now like follow you and buy your stuff. Talk about that a little bit. Maybe list some of those folks off.
Yeah. So when the whole pandemic happened, like I just got in touch and was connecting and talking to Samuel Jackson, and Samuel Jackson shouted me out on Jimmy Kimmel Live national. He sent me pictures where it was airing, and he's like, "Yo, watch Kimmel tonight." And I'm like, "Okay." Sneak peek of him wearing my shirt on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and then I was like, "Oh shit!" Then it aired. It was like everywhere. It was all over. Everybody was hitting me up. That was a major. Yeah. And then Samuel, ever since then, Samuel will wear my shirts and not even tell me, and he'll wear them at like press interviews, like interviews on his movies or whatever. He'll rock him low key, which has been awesome. So that's been a huge help. And then he went on vacation with Magic Johnson and LL Cool J and other people, and he told LL Cool J all about my art and everything. And so LL Cool J hit me up, and we started talking, and I ended up signing a licensing deal with LL Cool J for 4 years to design my own little brand or my own line of merch with Rock the Bells, his clothing company.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that, and then he's been connecting just random little people in his circle, and then also working with Rick Ross. Like I talk to him directly, I FaceTime him and everything. It's crazy. It's so cool because it's like I would have looked back like who the people I talk to now. I'm just like, dude, this is insane. So it's just cool. But that between working with Rick Ross now, LL Cool J. I did a bunch of stuff like prior to like traveling all over China with a shoe company that I used to design for, live painting in Vegas at this trade show called Magic. I painted for like 5 years straight in Vegas. And so, yeah. And then now coming from all of that in the past, and then now with everything, and then who I'm in contact with, and then, and then working with Nick at OwnerFi. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason that you're here today. We want to talk a little bit about the new NFT drop because, well, I guess we talked about your sort of history and how you sort of came up as a traditional artist. And what are you use Sharpies? What do you, I mean, I've seen you do a whole bunch of things, but primarily what are the tools that you use?
Well, I mean, when I'm painting, I use my brushes and just regular paint. I don't spray paint or anything. And then when I'm creating like my NFT characters or sketches or whatever, they're all literally laid out by paper on. I Sharpie these out freehand. They're not sketched or anything. I just Sharpie them out as I go with ideas. So this is a sneak peek at the zombie parts that I'm working on.
Nice. That's pretty awesome.
All right. That's enough.
Yeah, don't show too much, right? Yeah, we don't want everybody to. Nick's over here playing boss man. Like, no, you can't do that.
I mean, I literally I sketch those out.
Nice.
Like I don't know. I just like think about like old cartoon characters, like monsters, Nickelodeon cartoons and Cartoon Network, and I look at some of the zombie stuff and then the zombie games I would play. And so I kind of just freestyle and just let it flow. Just
nice. And maybe let's jump over to Nick. Nick, how did you guys first meet? How did that come about? Because, he's a traditional artist painting, using markers, paints, those kind of things. How did that conversation happen around the introduction of doing an NFT collection?
So it's a very strange story. So my old landlord is a guy named Mark Verge. And he was on the radio on KFI in Los Angeles talking on the Tim Conway Jr. show. And I recognized his voice when I went to pay my rent one day. And I said, "You're the guy from the radio." And so we started talking about my business. And, I was telling him, I'm an entrepreneur. And he was like, he was like, "Let's have lunch. I love to help young entrepreneurs." So it was amazing. So he started introducing me to people. I went over he's got this really cool house on the beach. I think like Marilyn Monroe used to hang out there.
Wow.
Crazy stories. But so I went there and I met this guy they were playing poker, and I met it was like a charity poker thing. And then I met this guy whose name happens to be Justin Pierce. Not this Justin Pierce, okay? A different guy whose name is Justin Pierce. And he so
you slid into his DMs, it sounds like.
No, he slid in my DMs. He was saying, "I've got this artist." Like I told him, I was talking about NFTs. And so everybody was like, buzzing everything with this artist. And he's like, and his name is Justin Pierce, right? And I'm like, what is even going on? And apparently, I think like maybe like he Googled his own name or something at some point, and then found Justin because Justin has the same name as him. So
it's crazy too, because we've known each other for 10 years and we haven't talked for a while, and we circle back around, and then that's how and then there's another Justin Pierce that lives out here in Phoenix. That's a chiropractor that
we got to figure out how to pull him in somehow.
Yeah. Could we do like an NFT back adjustment, spinal adjustment NFTs. Right?
I mean, it's already confusing.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so Justin Pierce, who was talking about, Justin Pierce was telling me that he wanted to do something with the NFTs. So we started by doing like a one-off. We made this one NFT called Payday, and it was just one animated NFT with like cash falling down. It's still unsold. Like if any, like we might auction it off at some point. But it was the first.
Where can I buy it?
It's in storage. It's in cold storage right now.
Okay, it's in cold storage. All right.
So that NFT, right? We spent time, like a lot of time on it. We were like, we're gonna do this big auction and get all these people involved. But that's just like basically one of one NFTs were just not hot. People were not interested in one of one NFTs. It was difficult to get any kind of interest. So I was watching what was going on, and everybody was like doing these big collections, and it took me a while to sort of put these two things together and think like, wait a second, let's just ask Justin I think it was because I didn't know if Justin would want to make that much art, because obviously it's a lot more work than like one NFT. So I just asked Justin Pierce, the agent Justin Pierce, who's representing Justin now. And the emails look crazy, by the way, but and everybody we talk to in Zoom calls is confused. So I emailed him. I was like, what do you think if we did like a big, 5,000, 4,000, whatever collection? And he said, I'll run it by Justin. And then Justin, like,
wait, which Justin again? Just forget it. No, just kidding.
Right. Well, exactly. So we probably like lost hundreds of hours of our lives because of that, but no, just kidding. So
you really need to change your name to Justin Pierce, Nick.
Jay Pierce. So
there you go, Jay Pierce. There we go. We got it.
So Jay Pierce, as soon as he heard about it, he just kind of snapped up, and he was like, "Definitely." I mean, right? I mean, it was not a hard sell, which was.
I know Justin well enough to know exactly what he said. He said, "Dope."
Yeah, he said,
dope is your signature phrase. I know this. Right? When he likes something, he goes, "Dope." So, dope. That's dope.
It was just kind of just magic because I didn't think that. I mean, I didn't know he would want to do that much, but he was just like, that's exactly the kind of thing that I would like to do, because he likes to make art, and it's like kind of a way for him to reach people that he would never be able to reach any other way.
So I want to talk with you for a few moments about Evergreen Carbon Credits, one of the sponsors of this show. I started working with Evergreen when I was telling a friend of mine who's involved with that company about my efforts to try to learn more about blockchain, NFTs, crypto, all the things in this space. And he showed me Evergreen. Evergreen was a really unique solution. I've looked at carbon credits in the past. I've been in the sustainability industry for almost 15 years. I understood what they were. You were buying an offset to offset the carbon footprint that you or your company has. But I also understood the challenges with that. They're sold in very, very large blocks, and then people break those blocks up and try to sell individual credits or small clusters of credits to businesses. And that creates some room for fraud, for people to not be up and up on what that project is, if that carbon credit is real. And there's challenges with that. And you can Google it right now and find there's a big case in Europe going on about fraudulent carbon credits. But what Evergreen did, I thought, was really unique. They took this idea of NFTs and they took blocks of carbon credits and broke those things down into tens of thousands or even millions of individual carbon credits. They can actually fraction those even out to a tenth of a carbon credit if they needed to. And they were able to then create a smart contract around that carbon credit so that you can track it back to its origin. You can find out what project it was associated with, but you are also guaranteed that the carbon credits you're getting from Evergreen are the real deal. You get that certificate, you get that certification that only the blockchain can do. So that's why it made sense for them to come on as a sponsor of this show. We're talking about all this new technology, and with new technology comes higher energy usages in some senses. And Evergreen is here to help offset that. if you want to look to maybe improve your image in the marketplace, maybe you're looking to offset some of your carbon footprint, not even just for your image, but actually for the sake of the planet, head on over to evergreencarboncredits.com and check out what they do. You can buy credits for as little as $11, and you'll get the certificate and the NFT that you can put in your wallet that shows that you've actually made that contribution. And that money, particularly right now with the projects they're working on, is going to reforestation in the Amazon. I think that's something we can all really get behind, particularly when we understand that the environment, the climate we're all connected to it. It doesn't matter if we're putting off emissions here in the US or if it's happening in Mexico. It all contributes to the same global problem. So why not be part of a global solution with Evergreen Carbon Credits?
Then once he agreed, it was just basically, how are we going to do the, because we'd never done a collection before. We'd never done any of these like Bored Ape things yet. So we had to kind of come up with a system. And at the time, there weren't any tools or anything that you could just download. So like I had to figure out how to like write code to assemble this stuff. And then we had to come up with a process to get Justin's art into the computer and arrange it. And that was a whole long process. And I had my partner, my co-founder of my company. We were working really hard to try and figure that system out. And then, so we got sort of this assembly line system finally going. And then the rest is history. Like,
how long did it take you to do this stuff, Justin? Like, what was the time frame to build? Because you have to build all these elements together, right? And then the software sort of matches them. Is that right?
Yeah, Nick, I just basically sketch it out like how I showed you, and then cover it in on the computer, and then send over the high-res files to Nick and then Masha. But characters, I don't know. I think I would probably say, like, if I was sitting down, I don't know, like a week. Yeah. Like, already had in mind of what I wanted to do, because I wanted to base it off of the characters that I would always put like into my patterns and my shoes and all that I've been painting.
And to your basketballs too, that I have, right? There's all sorts of characters in there. And I see some resemblance of those in that first NFT collection that you did. There's a lot of those sort of, goofy eye kind of big teeth sort of characters that you like to do.
Yeah. So I already knew what I wanted to do, but all I needed to understand was like the recipe of how to put them together, or sketch them out so they can piece them together.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So how about the launch of this? So you did 400 in that first launch, is that right?
4,000.
4,000. I'm sorry, 4,000 in the first launch, and you published these on Ownerfi, and obviously it was immediately successful, right?
No, not at all. So
it was just as successful as the first NFT that hasn't sold yet.
Yeah. So it's funny because, how do you even go about promoting an NFT? It was in November, we're like, there's no recipe for this. So, I'm using Discord. Like this is the first year I've got on, like last year, 2021, like I was just learning how to use Discord. Right. This is like the Gen Z chat platform. And I'm over here trying to figure out,
I got to tell you, we're trying to do a Discord for this show, and you might have to, Nick, I might have to just call you and show me, because I don't understand what it is and how it works. And I tried to set up an account, and they're like, give you information on your server. I'm like, what, server? I don't have a server.
It's so insane. It's so insane. But it has so many features and so many options and settings. It's like you could get a degree in Discord.
Well, I did talk to one guy who's looking to help me set up a Discord server, and he admitted after he sent me the proposal that his 11-year-old son was going to do the work, because he was like, I don't even know what to do. He's like, I asked my 11-year-old, he's like, Dad, I got like 4 of them. He's like, okay.
And plus if you mess something up, then somebody hacks your server and takes it over. So you want it delicate too.
Sure.
But so we had to get the Discord, Twitter, social media, and then start like talking to all these influencers and everything. And I have my own email list from all the customers, because I have this NFT app that was really popular for a while. It was called Receipt Chain. Now it's called Ownerfi.
We talked about that in the last episode, and how much you love Apple.
Yeah. Like don't make an app, folks. So had this email list. Told all of our everyone on our email list, and from everything that we did and promoted for probably like 6 weeks in advance, we still only managed to get 580, I think 580 sales. So, I mean, we were like in kind of a bad spot because like one of my co-founders quit the company at that time. Like we had like a big argument about like how to promote it and everything. And you know, like you know, what are we doing? What are we doing wrong? And we ended up hiring this outside marketing company to help market when it wouldn't sell out. And they still couldn't do anything. Like, so they were talking to influencers and everything. And it was frustrating because we were looking at the other NFT projects out there that were selling out, and they're like 2-bit frogs and tiny.
Well, they went on Fiverr and got 10 million. You know?
But the thing is, they pay for all these shady things to happen. So they get like these bots that come in from India, and then they fill their Discord server with 20,000 bots, and then they spam to. So Discord's like since like tried to stop a lot of that stuff, but they have all these sort of nefarious ways, and then they have these like secret Telegram groups and stuff. So there's all this like secret underground NFT like trading going on, and pump groups basically. So a lot of these NFTs that sell out, they're just basically like locusts going from project to project. We're in these underground like Telegram and Discord groups. So it's like, oh, now we're all going to go over here. Now we're all going to go over here. So it's like if you're not connected into that group, into that inner circle, then it's really hard to break in. Even if you have a real artist who has real clout in the real world, and you have like, you know, art that was made for this rather than like, you know, something that
somebody went to Fiverr and came up with just some crap, right?
Fiverr, yeah, exactly. So we had a whole different level of project, but we couldn't get anybody to pay attention to it. And you know, people would come in and buy it and they'd be like, this is so slept on. Like, why aren't people like in here? And it's like because we were trying to get into this NFT world and trying to like get someone to pay attention to us, but they're all buying like, you know, pixelated butterflies, you know, and the reason is because they're just pump and dump groups. So we can't get this. So without the attention of the pump and dump groups, it's like it's really hard to sell out an NFT. Frankly, it's really hard to sell out an NFT project earlier at the end of last year. But so we did. So then I had this other project going on called Citizens NFT, and it was another NFT project that wasn't doing well. I was recruited to do the tech on it by these 5 guys from around the world who like have never met in person. And so I did the tech for it, but that one also was not selling. So we decided to do a free mint for that one, and just make it so anybody could come in and buy it for free. And so once we did that sold out in 2.5 minutes. So that project got all this attention because it was like the first free mint NFT project ever. Like nobody had ever just thrown away the keys to the kingdom and said, just, you know what, this is dying, so let's just give it away. It was the first time anybody thought to do that. And I'll just claim that as my idea because I'm pretty sure that I was.
Nobody else was dumb enough at that point to do it, or I shouldn't say dumb, desperate enough, right? You were desperate at that point.
The project dies.
Yeah,
and we get nothing from it.
We have to lose. Nothing to lose.
Give it out so it's distributed, and maybe we get some royalties or something.
Sure.
You know? Yeah. Like so. So I convinced those guys. They said sure. Actually, 3 of the guys on that project quit, and it ended up only being me and this one other guy because they were just like they've had enough. So we did the free mint, but then right after they left, the free mint sold everything out, and they sold that whole project out in 1.5 minutes. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it. And somehow that got the attention of the NFT world, and that triggered all their automated tools that monitor the selling of NFTs. So there's all these automated trending tools that see like
that's interesting. Which makes sense. It's like a marketplace, right? I mean, I know a lot of our listeners are investors and those kind of folks. It's just like a marketplace. It's just analytics. It's BI, business intelligence. It's telling you what to do.
Yeah, and they're literally like automated buying bots and things that will buy. And they have tools that will try and buy as many as possible. So it's like these like, you know, quant traders and in the stock market and stuff. They're doing all the same stuff.
Sure.
So we got the attention of of that group because of that Citizens thing, and so they all flooded into the Citizens Discord, and that's when I was like, okay, let's get. Now
you got your shot. Yeah.
So we did a contest in there, and I gave away 10 JPF NFTs, and then suddenly all those people were looking at it, and then just started like flooding into Justin. So they're like, "This art's awesome, right?" Everybody who saw it was like, this is different. This is cool. Like this is not just cookie cutter squirrels and lions.
Right.
Like somebody made this like by hand, and it's special.
Well, hey, everybody, thank you for joining us. And until next time, go out and buy some J. Pierce NFTs. Thanks.
Yeah, let's go.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks.
Got it.
Thanks for listening to The Convergence. If you want more information about the topics you've heard here today, reach out to us at theconvergencepodcast.com.